In this episode, we're telling you how to spot the times you need to put your prices up.
This is JSDI with the Two Lauras, the podcast where we discuss all kinds of things related to working in social media. We share tips, advice, ideas and inspiration to help all of you social media marketers with your marketing and your business. And on the show today, we are diving into the times when you need to recognise that your prices need to increase. And as always, we would love to carry on the conversation. So head over to our free Facebook community, the Social Media Managers Hub, or come and find us on Instagram and let us know how you're doing. Okay, on with the show. When should we put our prices up? Today? Tomorrow?
Yeah, well, the varying times. So we could probably break it down into a couple of different reasons as to why you'd put your price up. So probably one of the obvious ones, and the one that I certainly probably do the most, is at a point in the year. So new calendar year, so 1st of January, prices go up. That's fairly common for service-based businesses, I think. They put their price up at the start of the new year. New business year, it could be like, I'm 5 years old, I'm putting my prices up, you fuckers.
Maybe don't put that in the actual, email that you're sending to your clients, but yeah.
Maybe it's like the anniversary of working with a client. So I've worked with you for 2 years, a year or whatever, or 6 months or a week.
I actually used to do that all the time, and I had it built into my contract that I would, after 3 months, they would get an automatic price increase, and it said in the contract what that would be. So I didn't need to go through any of the rigmarole of, by the way, I'm going to put your price up. I literally just invoiced them the new price because I'd set it out from day one. But what I think I should probably say on that is that my price wasn't lower to start with. My price was my price. So say my price was £1,000. They knew that was my price for the first 3 months. And after 3 months, my price would go up to £1,200, whatever it was. And that was in my contract.
Nice. I like that.
So it was like an anniversary of working with them, but it was set from day one, so they knew it. I would definitely recommend doing that. Brutal, but important.
See, I always said after the first 3 months, the price will be reviewed. So they kind of knew. But I didn't always put the price up. I have put my prices down before.
Oh. Wow.
Just because what I went in thinking was different to the reality. Anyway, so yeah, definitely have those points in your business where you want to review the prices. And obviously, like Laura, she's had that in her contract that the price will go up. And so you could have that every year, your price will go up, whatever percentage.
Yeah.
And I think people feel really uncomfortable about that, but that is like the norm. I think generally the people feel really uncomfortable about putting their prices up full stop. But everyone else does it. And I remember once someone said to me, oh yeah, but I can't put my price up because everyone else is putting their prices up. It's like, well exactly.
That's the whole point.
Yeah, so get in on that.
Well, if you think about recently when prices for everything has gone up, fuel prices went up, all of the prices for grain and all of that stuff went up. So therefore your bread cost more. And no one thinks anything of putting the price of their bread up. They just put it up. It's just how it works.
Well, look at Lurpak.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Price of Lurpak went through the roof and people were still buying Lurpak.
Yeah, exactly. And yes, people might be a bit miffed about it, but it's just the way of the world. Prices go up. They just happen to go. It's just how we work.
Yeah. How much and how you kind of communicate that and how you carry that out, that could be different, varying.
Yeah.
But the point is, it's totally acceptable to do that.
Yeah. No matter who else is putting your prices up, put your price up. Definitely. Yeah. So time of the year, or a period of time in the year, I think is really important. But I do think it's good to have that in your contract.
Yeah. And with that being said, this going out, we're not far off the end of the year. So if you're thinking, I'm going to put my price up, then you want to be starting that now. You want to be kind of risk assessing now. You need to be thinking, how is this going to work? If they don't say yes, have I got a backup? So you want to have a plan in place from now. Don't just say on the 1st of January, oh, my prices have gone up, because that is not how to handle it. So definitely be thinking about that now if you're going to be doing it for the 1st of January.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, next one, I would say put your prices up when you've noticed scope creep. And this can be very obvious to you sometimes when scope creep comes in, But sometimes it's very subtle and you don't notice it and you're like, oh my God, hang on, why? How long have I been doing this for?
Yeah.
So, and you need to pay attention. And that is a really important time to put your price up, because it's not part of your original price. It's a different piece of work potentially, or more work than you originally priced for. So of course you need to put your price up.
It's very difficult to go back and ask for money for something you've been doing essentially for free for X amount of time.
Yeah.
And I've done it. Like one of my very first clients, I took on a whole new platform, albeit very light touch, but without charging them any more, because in my mind, which is a funny old place, it was better to keep that client and keep the money that I had coming in than lose them, because I had no backup, I had no warm leads, my worry was, if I said no to her, or I'd said, yes, I can take it on, but it's going to cost you X amount, if she'd have gone, I'd have been screwed.
Yeah.
And in hindsight, that was just such a silly thing to do, because then I was just like working for probably below the minimum bloody wage.
Yeah.
And I was over delivering as well, because I didn't have enough clients at that point. So it was kind of, I filled my days to over bloody deliver. I was probably earning like a penny an hour.
I did this, and you'll know who the client who I'm talking about with this. I had a client who I did ads for who were quite annoying, and they had someone else.
So that's all you needed to say.
Yeah, they had someone else who did their organic, who wasn't a social media manager. It was just someone that they knew, like the daughter of a friend or something. And she would, like, the owner of the business and this person would like WhatsApp me all the time, being like, oh, how do I do this? Or how do I do that? And what do you think I should do this? Do you think this reads all right? And like, to start with, it was really like, infrequent. So I'd just answer. And then eventually it was like all the time. I'm like, hang on a minute. I'm doing all this work for free. And it's when you suddenly, that's why I said sometimes it can creep up on you, because you just don't realize you're doing it. So you have to kind of nip that in the bud, and you do have to charge for that. So it's not just actually doing the work. It's just sometimes the advice that people ask you.
And it could be the monthly calls that you agreed to have become weekly or fortnightly, or they used to be half an hour. Yeah. Well, I've bloody been there. It's things like that. It's not necessarily just the delivery of the job, or that you're taking on another platform, or suddenly you're writing emails as well as bloody social media, whatever it may be. It does creep up on you. That's why it's been, named scope creep, because it does creep, and before you know it.
I think sometimes we think, well, they're a client, I should just do it for them. But the time that you're spending doing that for them for free, you're losing money because you're not using that time with someone else. Yeah. So you have to make sure that you're charging for it. So definitely increase your prices if that happens to you.
Yeah, and this kind of goes on to the next point, really, of when to increase your fee. It's not just when your work accidentally grows, it's when they request more work. And as I say, I've made that mistake in the past, which was bloody stupid. But if they ask you to do something extra, they are not, well, they might be cheeky and be thinking you'll do it for free, but don't do it for free. No. Like you have to price, you have to give context to that price as well. Don't just say, yeah, okay, I can do that and it's going to cost you X amount of money. Like, put the proposal together to how much that will cost, and it will give them that context. But never feel like you should never do what I did and just feel like, oh, I should just take that on just because I want to keep that client, because I ended up not actually finding a better client for ages because I didn't have the time, because I was over delivering and being underpaid. So it's a horrible kind of cycle to get into. So yeah, if they ask you to do more work, then you need to give them a price.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Treat it as though it's a new client almost, because it is a new piece of work. They still need convincing that it's the right thing to spend their money on.
And they might as well, like, when they might say to you, oh, can you just take on TikTok, for example? I don't know why we always give TikTok as the example, but can you just take on TikTok? They might just think, oh, well, that's not going to cost me much, because they'll surely just put all their reels from Instagram onto TikTok. Like, they won't understand, and which is understandable. Like, I get that. And so if you were to turn around and say, yeah, okay, it's £750, you just pop that on a text message or on a call, they don't know what that, they're like, what? £750 when all you're doing is putting the same content on. So then you have to give them that context, like, i.e. the same content doesn't necessarily work on both platforms. It's a whole new strategy. It's a different audience. You have to ideally make your content kind of natively, I think, in my opinion. Like, it's all of that kind of stuff. And if you don't explain that to them, and there are some clients that you'll explain that to them and they'll go, oh, no way, nah. I don't want, it's not worth that, but thanks, but no thanks, which is fine. They're entitled to make that decision. But other people will go, oh my God, yeah, I just hadn't even thought that it would take all of that. And that was even a thing. And I didn't realize that I could have a TikTok shop thing going on and, all of that stuff. So then they accept it and they're like, oh my God, yeah, of course I'll pay. So yeah, context is key.
Definitely.
And it's also important to remember that it's not just about when they request more work. So it's not when they say, oh, can we do TikTok? It's when you, who are on the ground doing the job, you're the expert, you know the industry, when you identify gaps. So then obviously you can then say, like I've done that, like my client now is on TikTok. That's because I suggested that would be right for their strategy. But equally, it's like, I think my client probably would love it if I did regular full competitor analysis. Now I don't do that, and I've kept my head down because I don't want to do that. But if I recommended something, then that's an opportunity to put your price up. So don't ever feel like whatever you agreed when you took on that client is just set in stone. They might not realise that you're really competent at analysing data, and actually you're happy to analyse their Google Analytics and give them a better picture of what's working and what's not working on the whole from a marketing perspective. Or it might be that they didn't realise that actually you do ads management, and after a while you're seeing that they could really benefit from that you can offer that. And obviously just don't offer it for free. If you have skills that they're not utilising, don't use those skills unless they're paying for them.
Yeah, definitely. Like, even if you've approached the conversation, you're like, have you ever thought about doing XYZ? And then XYZ, what would you say?
XYZ.
Well, anyway, either of those options, however you would say it to them, you probably wouldn't even say that. You'd probably say, have you ever thought about doing TikTok? But anyway, have you ever thought about doing XYZ? Z? No, Z. It's definitely Z. Anyway.
Definitely Z.
Now you throw me off my game, Laura. I was going to say, even if you start the conversation with a client saying, do you want me to do ABC? And they say yes, you can still come back and be like, right, great, I'll put a proposal together to show you what it would include and how much it would cost.
Yeah.
So you still are in control of how much, that whole conversation around pricing.
Yeah, definitely. And you should, because as when I started out in this big wide world of social media, I only really knew social media, like organic. But over time, I've learned loads about like Google Analytics. I've learned loads about ads. I've learned loads about everything. And so I can now offer those to my clients. And that doesn't mean I've just got to offer it to the next client that comes along and inquires with me. I can offer it to my current clients, and you forget sometimes what and, clients will come to me worryingly, and I'll have a conversation with them and they'll say something about their website, and I'll be like, yeah, but that's not going to work. If you imagine someone's landing on your website from socials, that's not going to work. They're not going to know this or this, da, 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 da. And they're like, oh my God, right, I hadn't really thought about that. Will you put together like what you think would work? And obviously which is just amazing given I don't know anything about websites.
But I'm so surprised this is the example you're sharing.
But this is the actual thing that has happened on multiple occasions. Because I think I know from a social media perspective, yes, I don't really know websites, but I know what is happening on social for when people land on that website. Now, obviously, I'm not going to be having that same input from an email marketing perspective or any other marketing avenue, but I can then say to them, well, look, these are, because I understand how people use social media. And, it's those, but I'd be like, yeah, sure, that's going to, I know, I'd just do it on like a day rate or a half day rate. I'd say, yeah, sure, that's going to, like 500 quid or whatever. And they pay.
Nice.
So don't give away all your knowledge for nothing unless it's part of the original contract.
Love it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there we go. So shall we recap the times then that you need to increase your fees? Make a note of these. Like do as many of these as feel right for you and for each client.
And put it in your calendar and set a reminder, because as I said, just don't do it like on the cuff. You want to plan.
Yeah, you definitely need planning time. So, but maybe it's based on the time of year. So it's a new calendar year, business year, whatever, however long you've been working with a client. Maybe it's because what you're doing has changed, the scope's changed, or they've requested more work, or you've identified opportunities for more work. All of those times are times that you can increase your prices. So look out for them, pay attention to them. All of these things are going to add more money into your bank account. So make sure, you keep your eyes open for them.
Nice. Exciting. I can't wait to hear about everybody's price increases.
Yeah, let us know how much you've increased them by and what you're going to spend that extra money on.
If you're in the inner hub, then remember you have a risk assessment on there to help you go through that process to find out whether now is the right time and to create a plan for how to kind of go forward with increasing your fees. So do go and do that first so you can assess whether now is a good time and how to go about doing it.
Yeah, for sure. And drop into our DMs and let us know what you think. We say this on podcasts all the time, like drop into our DMs and let us know what you think. And it struck me the other day that I never ever do that. And I was listening to a podcast and she said, drop into my DMs. And I thought, you know what? I actually am going to. So I sent her a voice message and ended up having a really nice conversation with this person whose podcast I've been listening to. If you're listening to this thinking, oh no, I'm never going to go and DM the two Lauras, please do. Drop into our DMs and have a little conversation.
I love that you did that. And yes, please do come and do that. But I'm quite surprised that you sent a voice message. Have you had any communication with them before?
I send voice messages all the time.
Yeah, but like completely like cold.
Had I had a conversation with her before? I can't remember if I have.
I find that really interesting. I would never have ever thought that you would do that.
Well, there we go. Learn something new about me every day.
Yeah. Interesting.
Anyway, See you in our DMs, yeah? Send us a voice message.
A voice message is absolutely fine, even if you've not messaged us before, but I'm just surprised that Laura Moore has done that. Anyway, so that's it. Yes, all go put your price up, do the risk assessments if you're in the inner hub, all go make some more money, all stop with the scope creep, all go remind your clients how amazing you are and that you've got all other strings to your bow so you can charge them more for more. Yay!
Woohoo!
And then celebrate when you make more money.
Yeah, see you next time.
Bye!
Toodles!